Hi, welcome to the video that is going to be on one-step equations, well, one-step addition and subtraction equations, where we will be doing either the opposite inverse, we will be adding the opposite, and there are different things. Now, number one thing about 7th grade is you have to leave being able to solve any type of linear equation with just one variable. This is the first part of that, so we're going to be doing this actually, so from now all the way to the end of this term is going to be focusing on solving equations. So this is the first video lesson on the topic. We're going to be going through it, so here we go. Number one thing I'm really going to stress is you have to use balance lines. I do want you writing down exactly what you're doing when we get to that part, and I'll be going more into detail. But how I'm doing it on here is how it should be shown exactly on any classwork assignment, any poster, any scratch work. I expect this to be done. End of discussion. So if it's not done, it will be returned to you, and I'm going to ask you to redo it and do it correctly, the way I've shown on these videos, or I've shown in class. So here we go. First thing I've done is I've written down, hey, blue is good / positive, red is evil / negative. Okay. So our first equation is, well, I want you to solve for x plus 10 equals 19. So what we're looking for is, we're looking for some number that we add to 10 that gives us 19. I'm sure some of you have already got it. Awesome. For the rest of us mere mortals, we're going to see what we can do about that. One way would be to do what I'm going to be calling, this is the triple method with this one. We're going to pretend that x is like a box. It's an x box for this case. So what I've done is I've drawn a box for x, and I've put a box around it, and then I've drawn 10 good triples because 10 is positive. I've also put like a dotted line to represent that this is the other side of the equation with 19 triples on that side, 19 good triples. And so for this, it's a very visual way of doing it. If I have, and I'm going to put another dotted line right here because we're going to be going down there in a minute. If I have 10 on one side and 19 on the other, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 10 away from that side, and every time I take one from one side, I have to take one on the other because you have to think of it like a balance. So here we go. Take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now notice when I was going through it, I didn't go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, like, don't do that. Do it one at a time, take your time. So I've taken all these triples away. So what I'm going to do down here is I'm going to redraw, and I'm going to see what do I, like, I'm just going to neatly show what I have left. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 good triples left. So I'm going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 good triples left. So in the end, what I'm saying is, well, x equals 9, which I'm sure most of you probably figure out on your own. So that's one way. The other way, which is pretty major, we have 10 plus x plus 10 is equal to 19. So I'm just going to go through what are the fundamental steps every single time. The first thing you always do when you do it this way is, I want you to rewrite x plus 10 is equal to 19. I want you to show me, I want you to just rewrite, because this top part should be exactly how it looks on the book or on any worksheet. That part right there. So now I've rewritten it. So I have x plus 10 is equal to 19. So what we're going to do is, well, we don't want 10 over there. We want to get rid of 10. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to add the opposite. So I'm going to add the opposite of positive 10, and the opposite of positive 10 is negative 10. And the biggest rule in all of algebra is this: whatever you do on one side, you have to do the same thing on the other side. So I'm going to add negative 10 to this side also. Okay? Well, I don't want you just to start putting zeros like this is equal to 0, and like what I want you to do is we're going to call it simplifying. So we're going to simplify Well, 10 plus negative 10 is 0. We have x. That's all that's left, x plus 0. In fact, let's go and put that. 10 plus negative 10, we have x plus 0. Okay? Equals 19 plus negative 10. If I have $19 and I lose $10, right? We got $9 left. Now, x plus 0 is x. X plus 0 plus any number is not going to change anything. And that's x equals 9. Okay? And that's our final answer. X equals 9. Now, I'm sure by now you've noticed, hey, what's this little check thing for? Because we have x equals 9 in both plot spaces, which is good. That's what they both should be exactly the same. The check is we're going to check our answer. We're going to check and see, well, we have x plus 10 equals 19. I'm going to plug x back in, because if I plug it back in, it should be the same. So now we're doing exactly what we've been doing this whole time. We're going to, with order of operations, we're going to plug in negative 9 for x, or sorry, positive 9. It's not negative 9, it's positive 9. And what I'm asking is 9 plus 10 equals 19. Is 19 equal to 19? Yeah, it is. So, put a little check, smiley face on it, and we're good to go. We've checked our answer. So my final answer is x equals 9. Okay? Two different ways of doing it. And that's it. That's all there is to it. Let's go and do example number 2. Now, by the way, there's a number of different ways, and we're going to get to that one in a minute. Adding the opposite. Okay, so we're going to do this again. So I'm going to draw my dotted line. I'm going to rewrite m is equal to, now remember, I'm the type that I don't like the minus sign, so if you want to leave the minus, it's going to get to become u. This is more of what I like to do. M equals 16. I can't show every single way for every single problem, but I'll try and show as many different ways as possible. M plus negative 16 is equal to negative 28. I'm going to give myself a little bit more room because I know I'm going to add something eventually. Okay? So, m plus negative 16 is equal to negative 28. So all I've done is, again, I've done my rewrite. And what am I going to do right here? I'm going to add, well, opposite of negative 16. The opposite of negative 16 is positive 16. And whatever I do on one side, I have to do on the other. So I'm just adding 16 to both sides. Just adding 16. This is equal to 0. So we have m. Now you could put m plus 0 in the next step. Again, you don't have to. And then negative 28 plus 16. One is negative, one is positive. So if they're different, we're subtracting technically. So this is going to be negative 12 is left over. And if you need to show scratch work, that's no problem. I would show my scratch work right here on the side of the paper. Got 2, 12, but there are more negatives, so it should be negative 12, because 28 is, now 28 is bigger, not negative 28 is not bigger than 16, but there are more negatives than positives, so the negatives win. And all we did right here was we simplified. Okay? Now normally we would jump into our check, but I want to do another method. This is called the breakdown. Some people will call it decomposition. It's up to you what you want to call it, but I just call it breakdown because I'm breaking down the numbers. So I'm going to think about this in a little bit of a different way. M is, I take M and I'm taking 16 away, and I got negative 28. So I'm just rewriting. Now, if I'm taking 16 away, let's think about what M could possibly be. If M is positive, so let's say, and now, well, let's just think about negative 16, negative 28. If I'm taking 16 away, negative 28 is even more negative. I'm losing even more values. So if M, let's say M is 20. 20 minus 16 is 4, which is positive. So it's not going to be 20. So what about if it was 10? 10 minus 16, if it was 10 minus 16, here, I'll do that over here. If it was 10 minus 16, well, that's negative 6. So I'm still losing negatives, but it looks like I'm getting more negatives. So whatever number I'm minusing from 16, whatever number I'm taking minus 16, it's got to be negative. Because if it's positive, I'm going to lose negatives. It has to be negative. So what the breakdown is kind of doing is it's kind of working backwards. If I look at 16 and 28, well, I know 16 plus 12 is 28. So I know this has got to be negative 12. So now look what I have on both sides. I have 16 on both sides. And again, this might be new to some of you. Don't worry. The breakdown, it takes practice. Well, if I have 16 on both sides, I can get rid of 16, right? And then all I have left is m. And remember, I take away the minus sign too, is equal to negative 12. Also. So the breakdown is, it makes you think a little differently, but I think it's a great strategy also. And sometimes it's a little faster than adding the opposite or doing the triples, because like it'll save you time on a test. And the star testing, well, you know how it is. You don't have much time for certain things. We're going to do our check. We have m minus 16 is equal to negative 28. I'm plugging in negative 12. Well, I'm technically adding negative 16 plus negative 12, right? They're both negative, so if two numbers are negative, I'm adding the negatives together. 2 plus 6 is 8, 1 plus 1 is 2, and it's negative 28. And look at that, hey, negative 28 is equal to negative 28. We're good. So again, checking your answers, huge, such a big deal. And we're done with that's example number 2. So again, there you go. 2 different ways. Both have their ups and downs. Sometimes one is better than the other. Again, it is up to you. So I highly encourage you to try a few of these. We're going to be trying a couple of them in the class the next day. One last example. Ooh, okay. Now comes the fun one. I have 15 is equal to a minus 6. Okay? So I have some number that I take 6 away, and I got 15. So let's go and do it the breakdown way first. Just going to rewrite a minus 16, get them on my balance line right here. Make it nice and neat. We need some number minus 6. So we got minus 6 over here also, because that's what we want, the same thing on both sides. What number minus 6 gives you 15? So one way of doing this would be just be, well, this is what I want to get. I want to get this. So if I'm taking 6 away, I've got to add 6 to 15. So that would be 21. So 21 minus 6 is equal to 15. So now I've got minus 6 on both sides again. And look, if I get rid of the 6, this tells me, and by the way, I know I won't do that right now. I'll do that next step. Now I've got left is 21 is equal to A. Some people are okay with leaving their answer right there. I'm one of those people that I like to flip A over to the other side, because I always think that the variable should be on the right-hand side. And so A would be equal to 21 if I do it that way. Now that's one way. Now let's think about if we do some triples. I have negative triples on that side, and I want to get rid of those triples. I don't want them in there. So if I want to get rid of evil triples, I have to add good triples. If I have 6 evil triples, how many do you think I should add? By the way, I totally hate that show's Blue's Clues, but I kind of do that in this, so I do apologize, because, God, I hate Blue's Clues. Dora the Explorer drives me up a wall, too. By the way, I don't think Blue's Clues is online anymore. I'm not going to talk about that anymore. So reject the subject. I'm going to add 6 good triples. Right? I'm going to add 6 good triples. But whatever I do on one side of the force field or balance line or whatever, I have to do on the other. So I'm going to add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 over here also. And now look what happens. Intergalactic law of poof, right? Poof. These go away, right? These go away. These go away. These go away. Oh, well, here we go. Still going. Sure enough, all that's left is that box. So I have this box of A, and how many triples do we have left? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times 3, so we have 21. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 21. So we know from over here also that A is equal to positive 21 also. So we've done this 2 different ways. All right, now we're going to check our answer. I have 15 is equal to A minus 6. I'm going to plug in 21 minus 6. Hopefully you're going to get it also. 21 minus 6 is equal to 15. So we're going to put check, happy face, because 15 is equal to 15. And that's it. By the way, yes, you're going to be checking every single problem you do in my class, period. You have to check it. Now, what you do for every method is up to you. Breakdowns, triples, adding the opposite, that again is up to you. So, that's it for today. Have a great evening.